Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. Today's video, we're doing episode number 31 of I Build Your Teams, the series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team, unlimited and or competitive player, whatever they are playing here in NBA 2K24 MyTEAM. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 25,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe, and without further ado, let's hop right into it, and let's get to work with this first team, which comes in from JC on. And he has 200,000 MT. Team is like, he's got some good cards for sure in some good spots. Has some guys off his bench as well. LeBron, K-Love, and Wimby in his last three to keep in mind. But this team is not well put together in my opinion. I feel like your size at the twos is lacking. D-Wade at the two, just release-wise, is really lacking. I don't like RJ that much either. Number one, I think you need another shooting guard. Maybe two more shooting guards realistically. You have Steph Curry, so OG Anunoby, for example, that's a free card that you got out of that. He's much better than Richard Jefferson, in my opinion, because of his release being really good and being an elite 3 and D. I feel like off your bench, go Reeves, OG as your backcourt. Starters could be, in my opinion, at least right now, I would go Lonzo and then shooting guard blank. There are viable shooting guards. There's some pretty good ones. I would say, like, maybe not best of the best elite viable shooting guards. I'm trying to think who would be your best option to buy. Obviously, you could go a guy like Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. Out of this week's set, there aren't really any shooting guards they dropped that are viable. So you kind of got to go back a couple of weeks, and I'm looking right now just to see if there's any shooting guards I recommend. A guy like Jordan Walsh would be a good option, as well as another pink diamond. You could run Opal, Richard Jefferson as well. Like, you just got to figure out who you like at the shooting guard position, but I definitely think finding a spot for OG is going to help. I would put Reeves and Lonzo as your two PGs. If you want to run Steph, that's fine, but Reeves, Lonzo, Steph, pick two of those three as your point guards. Take Wade out of the lineup entirely, in my personal opinion, especially at the two. And then among your bigs, I would probably slide Chet to the backup four, start Gasol at the five, and bring like Wimby off the bench at the five. Or if you want to do Psycho T and Chet together in your starting lineup, if that's just how you like it, then maybe you leave Gasol at the backup five and move a guy like Kevin Love to your backup four. I think Randall and Worthy as your small forwards is very good. So overall, it's a good team. And it has some good flexibility, I feel like, but you just got to figure out how to arrange it better and what cards you might want to add. Potentially could look into adding another big if you're looking for somebody out there, somebody like the Walker Kessler that came out, or Dino Raja from the player market could be a good upgrade as well if you are looking for another big, if you do wind up sliding Chet to the four and you want to buy another center. So you got some options for sure, but just keep grinding the game, keep making MT, and hopefully keep improving your team. Second team comes in from Makai. Makai has 25,000 MT, not a ton. This team is in need of a point guard. I would say, as much as Jamal Crawford is like a fun offensive card, you're only level 6. I understand that, but I definitely think this is one of those seasons where you really have to grind something to upgrade your level and to get SGA. I would be trying to grind towards SGA and make more progress on your levels if you can. Make sure you're using the double XP coins that you have, and try to grind some games if you can in some game modes. I don't hate this team, but it just needs some work, and I don't really know exactly right now how you can improve your team very much without targeting those, because in terms of viable cards, like, there aren't tons of huge upgrades you can get. Like, a guy like Dino Raja might improve one of your big man spots slightly. Point guard wise, I don't know if there's anybody viable that is going to really improve your team much. Like, I don't personally love Jamal Crawford, but his primary shot creation ability is good next to Clay. I will say this: if you are looking for something to do and a card to get in the near future, that Dark Matter Gilbert Arenas from Triple Threat Offline is 100% worth the grind. He is really, really good in a lot of ways, and I think that card is absolutely phenomenal. So in my opinion, I think he'd be a really, really guy to consider targeting if you are looking for something to grind, because he is absolutely phenomenal, and I think he would be a really, really phenomenal option if you're looking for somebody to go get, because he will be, I mean, he's really, really good all the way around. I really do like that Gilbert Arenas card. I think he'd be by far your best point guard, so he would be a nice addition, and he's not going to be as long of a grind as it is going to be to go get that SGA. So that's just my thought for that team. Peyton has SGA, Reeves, overall really good squad. Honestly, he says he's not going to go for Glenn. He doesn't think, but he'll probably go for Terry. If you go for Terry, he can replace Marion or Randall if you want him to. Like, he's just as good as those guys, but he's not like a game-changing card. Honestly, Glenn is a lot more of a game changer than Terry is. But good team here. I am thinking, again, kind of like our recommended for the last team, this is one of those teams where it's like you have 7,000 MT. You can't really do anything MT-wise, but you know what you can do to go make some MT and to upgrade your team? Go grind that triple threat offline. 100 wins is not that crazy in offline, and that Gilbert Arenas card would, number one, be a big upgrade for your team. Number two, grinding that mode is going to give you some more MT, and honestly, Gilbert Arenas is basically just Austin Reeves, but a lot better. That's basically how I would describe that Gilbert Arenas card, and I mean, he's certainly a phenomenal option at the point guard position. So again, with a team like this, especially since you don't have MT, that's an area where I think it'd be a really good spot to grind right now. If you don't have a lot of MT and you don't have a lot of ways you feel like where you can upgrade your team right now, Gilbert Arenas and targeting him in triple threat offline this week is certainly not a bad option. Stu Jason has a really, really good squad. Emeka Okafor and Mark Eaton as your 4 and 5 is an absolutely elite starting front court, and then obviously his guards are great as well. But I don't like Luka. 200k alert of the Opals. As much as Luka is my favorite player in the world in real life, that card in 2K is not as good as Lonzo Ball, who you also have off your bench as a point guard option. Like, I don't think Luka's... Oh, my dog is chewing on his chew toy. I apologize if y'all can hear that in the background. I promise I got a weird comment about that a couple weeks ago, but yeah, I apologize about that. There's not much I can really do about it. I'm not going to go take it away from him. Good team here. I would definitely play Lonzo, like I said, as your backup point guard. And then again, like, this is one of those teams where it's like, I mean, at this point, your team is really good. So you have to decide, honestly, with the cards that are out right now, do you want to go grind for Glenn Rice? Is basically the question, because your team is really, really good. And yes, you don't have Wembanyama. Yes, you don't have 100 overalls. But, like, in general, you have close to one of the best teams you can get. You even have 2 of the elite Dark Matter giant bigs, like 2 of the 3 giants with KP and with Eaton and Wemby. You have Eaton and KP. So your team is set in a lot of ways. This is not a team that needs a lot of progress. This is one of those things where it's like, do you want to go grind, triple threat offline, get Gilbert, who would be a backup point guard upgrade, although not a massive one over Lonzo in my opinion, but I do think he's still an upgrade. You can go do that, make some more MT. It's not a bad idea. Outside of that, though, there's just not that much for you to really do with a team this good, which, I mean, is probably not a horrible place to be, and obviously your team is going to be better than 95% of the people that you play online when you have a team that is this good. So I don't know. This team doesn't need a ton of work, in my opinion. It's really good, but I would definitely say swapping out Luka makes a lot of sense to me. And I will say, if you swap out Luka, that does kind of... You put Lonzo in at point guard next to Pippen and Ferry. That's not like the greatest shot creation ever. I honestly do think Gilbert, even for a team this good, might be a really nice upgrade as your backup point guard. So I don't think that'd be a bad idea, actually. Can't Stick Hero. He said he just got into 2K. He's got like 90k MT. Most of his cards are unsellable. You know what? I'm totally fine with that. Like, you just got into the game. You got Jason Kidd and Marc Gasol from the locker codes. That's a dub. I don't love that Sabonis card, especially the 4. He makes more sense to me as a backup 5. I do like Jordan Walsh, Tyrese Thomas a lot. Buddy Hield's backup point guard will get the job done for now as well. That X-Men card is not terrible, but he's more of a small forward. And if you have Sabonis backup center, I guess, you do need some filler spots. I will say there aren't a ton of guys that you can go out and get that are going to be big upgrades right now, but I will say price-wise, cards that I think would be good cards to potentially target are Walker Kessler for 42,000 MT. Also the Pokashevsky that came out this week for 42,000 MT. Both of those guys are really, really good. Poku can be your new backup power forward, move X-Men to the small forward, or leave him back at small forward, X-Men at power forward, whatever. Sabonis can be your backup center, and then that Kessler card can come in and maybe you start him at center and you bring Gasol off the, or put Gasol at power forward, or you put Kessler off the bench at center or whatever. There are just, those guys I think for 42,000 MT are really good upgrades for a starter squad like this. And then my honest recommendation with a team like this is pick a game mode and go grind it. Not unlimited, because your team isn't good enough to where unlimited is going to be very fun at this point. But again, maybe it's triple threat offline to go get Gilbert Arenas. I know I keep saying that with pretty much every single team, but that card is phenomenal. He's super fun to use, and grinding for him will make you a good chunk of MT as well. So maybe you go pick up a couple of that pink diamonds, go grind out that triple threat offline over the next couple of days for Gilbert Arenas, and your team will be upgraded some more. You're going to make some more MT and have some more flexibility. Obviously, we have new bold players coming on Tuesday as well, so that is an area that I would definitely say could lead to a lot of upgrades, obviously, but we'll address that and talk about that when we get there, because obviously we're not there yet, and we don't know who's coming in that set. So this team is definitely, it's a good starter squad. It's not bad. By the way, he did grind for Buddy Hield. Very smart. If y'all have not grinded for Buddy Hield yet, you have less than a week left to get him. The reason that you want Buddy Hield is not because of Buddy Hield himself, but because Dark Matter Dikembe Mutombo is going to be available in salary cap as the ultimate reward. So you need to collect all 3 round rewards, and Buddy Hield is the first round reward. He expires on Friday morning when the new content comes out. So definitely make sure you are completing that so that you can get Dikembe, because he will be a huge upgrade for a lot of teams, especially especially nobody spent squads. Final team here is from JB10. He's got 500,000 MT, says he's going to get Shay in the next few weeks. He says he's level 30, honestly. Next few weeks, you should get him this week, honestly, level 30. Just use your double XP coins, grind it out a little bit, and you'll have SGA. So then you can have SGA as your starting point guard. OG, Terry, Alperin, Şengün, and Marcus All. Like, not a bad team at all. Starting lineup-wise, that's very solid. Off the bench, then you, I guess, would have... Look, me personally, what I would do, I would run Kid as your backup point guard. I would go SGA at the starter and Kid off the bench and go Kid, Kobe, Paulo, Laurie, and then backup 5 is like, I guess for now, Rafe LaFrance is a good option. He's obviously got a great release, but I do think he's going to struggle a little bit in certain areas. But very, very good release. Really great popper, so I don't hate that at all as the backup 5. Should I lock in this week's set is your question. And you said you're also going to pick Iggy. Iggy replacing Anunoby at some point will be an upgrade. Iggy is a better version of a guy like Anunoby, a little more complete as a playmaker, really good defender. They're honestly pretty similar cards, though. I do like that swap. So I like what your plan is. Now, locking in the set. I don't think it's a bad idea because let's think through it. This is the best set we've gotten so far in terms of Dark Matters. Every single Dark Matter, Vince, that's going to be an upgrade for you at the shooting guard position. So is Scottie Pippen, and so is Ricky Davis. Vince is probably the worst of those three, and he's still really, really good. And Scottie Pippen has a lot of defensive versatility as well. He plays the 3 at a high level as well if you don't want to put him at the 2. So I feel like all those guys would be really good upgrades. And then obviously the big man options are all going to be huge for your team. If you get a Mecca, Okafor, AD, or Eaton, all 3 of those guys fill big slots on your team as power forward or center options and give you a lot more big man flexibility. And so to me, I don't think that's a bad idea at all because there's not really a true super troll pull this week. It's not like there's going to be a Dark Matter Derrick Rose that you pull that you're really disappointed about like last week. No offense to D Rose. I think for most people, though, if they pull a 6'3" point guard without an elite release, they're going to be kind of annoyed. And understandably so. But this week, you don't really have that. Even the quote-unquote worst one, which I think a lot of people probably would say is Vince, is still really desirable and really good. So that's a good place to be in with that set. And in my opinion, it does make it so that the set is kind of worth locking in. The one thing I will say is the sets are the one thing that kind of keep me connected to the Friday content because I have been able to the last few weeks grind out the set and lock it in with MT, and I'm continuing to do that. And that, number one, gives me motivation to actually play the game a little bit so that I can go grind out and earn a Dark Matter. And number 2, it gives me an opportunity to potentially interact with the gambling content a little bit more and use those cards without spending money, without supporting the 2K financially. And I'm not trying to support 2K financially at this point. So obviously that's just my decision. Y'all can do what you want, but I don't think locking in this week's set especially is all that bad of an idea at all. So that is going to do it for today's video. I hope y'all did enjoy. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.